Okay, should we get started? Excellent. Okay, welcome everybody to Collection Spotlight. This is an ongoing series that we've been doing for a few months now. It's a partnership with the Co-Center for the Arts and First American Art Magazine and the incredible artists who join us as hosts each session. So each time we meet, we have an artist select pieces from the co-collection that they're going to dive deep into. So you get to have a bit of an intimate view from the artist's perspective about the pieces in the co-collection and their own work. So I'm Bess Murphy. I'm the curator at the Co-Center, and I'm here on site at the Co today, and I will be showing the pieces that our artist today, Kelly, has selected. So I'll pass it over to America.
Oh, me? Okay.
Oh, yeah, sure. Or Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah, how about Rachel?
Okay, to me then, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you, Kelly and America and Bess for making this all happen. It's such a terrific program. If you want to see past videos of some of our wonderful artists and guests, you can go to the Co YouTube channel or our website because there are links there to take you to those wonderful experiences. So if you don't know us, we're about connection and learning through Indigenous arts. We have a collection, as Bess was mentioning, that we hang our programs on both directly and indirectly. Unfortunately, with COVID, that has created some challenges for us. Nevertheless, we're all virtual now. So I hope you really enjoy this program. And again, a shout out to America and Kelly and Bess for putting this together. And now I will let America take it over.
If I can put myself up here. Hey, so I'm America Meredith, and I'm the publishing editor of First American Art Magazine. So we're a quarterly print and digital magazine. We've been really busy over this summer and fall. Yeah, we cover the hemisphere. We cover North and South America, and I'm really grateful to be able to partner with the Co. And I'm excited to introduce Kelly Church, who I've known more than half my life now. We went to IA together, and then Kelly went on, she got her degree at IA. She went on to University of Michigan to get her BFA. Is that correct? And then she's had a formal art training, but it was her father, Bill Church, and then her uncle, John Pigeon, who taught her about, when I knew her, she was a painter. So this is actually a Kelly Church painting. She's a woodland painter. But she, really found her voice in basketry from her family, and generations and generations of her family have been basket makers. She's also a birch bark biter, and she's been a really passionate advocate for saving and protecting the black ash tree that is under threat of extinction. So we're really grateful for Kelly to take the time and join us today. So, Kelly.
Thank you for having me. So today they let me pick out some things from the wonderful Co collection. If you guys have never seen it, when you're able to, please do stop by there and see it again, or all of their wonderful things online. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about black ash, birch bark, and some quilling and basswood. So these are things from the forest that I actually work with in the forest. So I'm going to take you through a trip to the woods with me. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about black ash basketry. And I want to take you guys on kind of how it begins for us. So the first thing we do when we make a black ash basket is we do not go to the store. I'm kidding. We go to the woods. And so when we get to the woods, we have to find a good basket tree. And a good basket tree is going to have bark that grows straight. And it's also going to have growth rings that are about the thickness of a nickel, not the width, but the thickness of a nickel size. So when we're in the woods, these are the two characteristics we're looking for. And of course, you have to know what a black ash tree looks like first. So when we get out there, we'll notch the tree. We'll check the growth rings. If they are suitable width for basket weaving, then we will offer some SEMA, which is tobacco, and we'll harvest that tree. When we harvest the tree, we're always in the swamps, so it's very wet. You cannot drive out there. That's just one thing that you have to have strong people to carry these logs out after. So the logs will be about 6 to 8 feet in length. And I have a growth ring here in my hand I'm going to show you. And so this is the beginning of the growth ring. And then you can see down the length of the growth ring, it's a really long one. So this is probably an 8-foot log. Now, if I get close up here, and I'm going to try to do that, kind of slow. If you guys can see, you can see these marks on top of this. This was actually the top growth ring. And so all of those lines that you see in there are actually where the axe was pounding on the log to remove the growth rings. Once we get that log home, we will be pounding on it with the backside of an axe, just like this. And so the backside of an axe might be an inch in width and will be overlapping about 1/2 inch and pounding. So you can see like those 1/2 inch width marks, you know, barely. Can you guys actually see them, America or anybody?
A little bit. And
Okay.
if I can just
Well,
interrupt
you
you
won't,
quickly.
they're not,
Oh, Kelly, the black ash is completely unique of all species, isn't it?
yeah,
Because of,
it is. So we've never actually had to work with other trees because this tree is very indigenous to the Northeast. So all of the natives in the Northeast use black ash, not just Anishinaabe, but Anishinaabe, Wabanaki, the Haudenosaunee, all of the, you know, natives in the Great Lakes, wherever the tree grows. And the Wabanaki have their creation story, have them coming out of the black ash tree. So it's very ceremonial to us. It's very special to us. We literally have, different stories of how the ash has come to us and how we learn to do these things. So today we tell our stories the way that we are taught, and we'll bring our kids into the woods. The black ash tree is really unique in how it can be split. And so I actually have some split growth rings next to me, because once we pound on that log, it separates the fibers in between the growth rings. You'll have a stack of about 8 growth rings that will pop up and release. And then after they pop up and release, I need to split them in half to turn them into basket weaving material. So there are 2 parts to the log. There's the inner part of the log that is dark brown. There's the outer part of the log that is a whiter wood. So we call it spring wood. So you can see here the 2 different colors. This is our heartwood and this is our springwood. There'll be more heartwood than springwood normally on a log. On the inside of here, you can see where the outside of the growth ring once was. Will be rough. The inside of the growth ring that we split in half will be smooth. And in the manner in which we split this is, you will have it in 1 growth ring, just like I showed you guys. And then we will score the top and it will peel apart just like that all the way down. So once we get to this point, we have just a whole bunch of basket weaving material that we can work with. And as you can see, it curls up like a ribbon. So this is not me just curling it. Once we split, it will kind of naturally curl into itself. And just like this, you can see kind of like ribbon when you work with ribbon or paper. See how I can kind of make it a little stiffer just by touching it. So this wood is very easy to manipulate, which comes into the beautiful baskets that they have into the collection. And the first one that we have is a number 1. I'm just not calling them by names, which Bess is going to pick up. So this one demonstrates how we can make curlicues with our baskets. This basket is made of black ash. If you show them the bottom, Bess, turn it towards the bottom. Beautiful, and see that bottom there. So that bottom is, we have this 8 splint traditional bottom that we'll make. You can add it into 10, 12, 16. Basket makers will have their way of setting down their baskets to where 1 splint will set down and 1 will lift up. And then you will go around just like you see on the bottom of that basket. Then you begin to take the splints and build it up. And then you will go around it with different build-up patterns. And then you will have it plated. That is what plated is, over, under, 1 strip at a time. It's not a continuous piece going up. Then when we get done, we'll add those curlicues. Now those curlicues that you see on there, I call them curlicues here in Michigan. There's different, words and books for that. But it's literally making a circle and then pulling it tight. So when I'm teaching this to people, I literally show them, you're making a circle and then you're just pulling that circle tight to make a curlicue. Now, while it gives it this incredible beauty, because you can see, how tight these curlicues are, they're so uniform, and I mean, it's just a beautiful basket. It also adds strength to that basket. So that basket before it had the embellishments, the curlicues, you could push it in a little bit. But once you add those curlicues, it turns into a stiff basket. It gives it strength, it gives it beauty. And that's what our woods do too. They give us all the strength and beauty and oxygen and wonderful things that we need. So this one, and the beautiful top, do you see that beautifully decorated, handle? So this person took it and yeah, and you can do so much with black ash. This is why I chose these, to show you the different variations of the many incredible things we can do with the black ash. So let's see, this is called a curlicue. These are the 3 most common ones we'll show you first. And then I believe number 2 is, I think it's points.
Yeah, so this is the bigger one. And I'm going to switch my spotlight here and see.
Yeah,
if
even on the table is good.
Because it's on the table. So it's the wall pocket in the back. I'll try and get a little bit closer.
Yes. So you can see the one with the points on it. It is very decorative. You can see those points on it. So this is what we call points. There's, different areas will have different words for this. Here in Michigan, we're just kind of, to the point what it looks like. Circles are curlicue, points are points. So this right here is another way of decorating a basket. And you're literally, putting the splint in just like you're going across, like you're plating, and then you're flipping, just literally flipping that piece of ash and then pulling it tight, and you will get this point on it. So these can be pulled very tightly. They can be very uniform, like you see them here. They definitely, again, they add the strength to the basket after it's made. And these wall hangings, when I see those, it reminds me of the ones my grandma would have on her wall, and she would use it for her mail. So it's the kind of thing that you can hang on your wall, put your important things in that you might have, maybe your keys or something. But, generally, I've just seen a lot of natives back home use these for their mail. So a wall hanging mail holder. Or important papers, important notes. But this basket as well, I'm positive on the bottom, it'll have a plated bottom as opposed to that round one. So the bottom will be going through each other, over, under, and then just going up on the sides. Yes, just like that. So that is what our baskets look like, always going up, and square bottom baskets will always begin with a plated bottom. That is really large. I didn't realize it was that large. It's beautiful.
Does it weigh a lot?
So
it's a little heavy because there's so many decorative elements on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And these two both
That's beautiful. Yeah, I can.
Here, I'll show the back too.
How old is this?
When Bess gets by it, we could really see how big it is. That's incredible. That is beautiful.
I know, it's so.
Oh yeah, so it's plated on the back, and that's beautiful. So you're actually weaving up, and then you're tucking it in, then you're going up more and tucking it in. So yeah, that's really beautiful. I love how that's done. But it shows so we've seen our curlicues and we've seen our points. And all of these elements, while you think it's just to make a basket more beautiful, it's to make it structurally more sound. It's to make it stronger. These black ash baskets are probably going on 100 years old now. You can usually tell by smoke, smoke on them and stuff, but they look like they're probably, very well aged, and they will last a very long time, even with use.
Yeah, we have this one dated at around
3.
Oh, sorry, Kelly. I was just going to say we have this one dated around 1890.
No.
Oh my God. So it's 130 years old.
Whoa. And
that's insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
then
they will last that long. So I always tell people, basket out of black ash, maybe over 100 years or more for sure.
Yeah. Number 3 is really fun because it's a total, I'm going to remove the spotlight on that one, switch it over to this, because here's the scale on this one.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. So number 3, I love this too. Yeah, you know what, this one, so it has these, so you'll see on the decoration on this one, I call these loops. So these loops can be incorporated many different ways. You can go all the way around the basket with it. You can go and do a loop through the middle on baskets. If you do a line of loops and put a really skinny one and another line of loops, it makes like a V shape. And these handles, while you think they add like a utilitarian purpose, the more purpose of it is that it adds a decorative purpose, because I'm not sure that those handles would actually touch together, would they, Bess, usually?
These would
To actually, hold the
Yeah.
basket. So yeah, it is more of a decorative purpose to it. And I love how, the size of it shows too, that no matter what ash you have, if you're going for a big basket, you're going to have some scraps. You may be cutting off the top or the ends. And especially these days, we save every little scrap there is. And there's that round traditional bottom basket again. And you can make baskets small, big. To me, this would be like today, we would be using it for our jewelry, our earrings, our necklaces, something like that. So I love that basket. That's just really cute. When I'm looking at them in the pictures, they all look the same size. So it's nice to see them myself even.
Yeah.
So this is the loop. So those were the 3 embellishments you're generally going to see on black ash baskets. Now I've selected a few others just to show, when you let your imagination go crazy, you can do anything you want. And so this one right here, okay, so this is more of just a twilling pattern. It's going to be going over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, and it makes a nice pattern that goes all the way around the basket. So that is a one wove up pattern. There's no embellishments on it. And these are hampers. So these hampers would have been used for anything that you needed large uses. If you were gathering a bunch of stuff, you could put, it in your hamper. If you were, and that beautiful top too. Yeah. And you see how they did the same pattern on top. So literally it's going over 2 splints, going under 2 splints, going over 2, under 2, and then you just alternate on your next stop and keep going up and around. And you can see how thin it is because you can see through it, but that basket is very strong. It will last a really long time. And that actually took a good amount of time to make. And again, we have our round bottom basket, but this time, instead of them going all the way around with a splint, they did like a double weave. So they'll lay all of those first splints down, go around it with their splint string, then they lay down another set of splints over that. And that's how we get our double round bottom basket.
And that just,
that's really incredible.
Is that just for strength?
Excuse me?
Oh, is that just for strength?
Yeah, it's to make it bigger. It's to make it bigger. So you can get that bottom to go out farther without using the string all the way up to the edge. So then we have number, 5. We have 2 more beautiful baskets. And one of them shows yes. So this here, I love this here because you can see how weavers coming up with this isn't a common pattern, but it definitely is one that we all use because you can do anything with your ash. So they're, taking their ash out, flipping it over and pulling it back in, kind of like our point, except they're not pulling it through. So this right here is another example. You can see the loop part at the top. We have the plating that comes down above the decoration of the diamonds. Then we have the diamond pattern. And the top again is that over 2, under 2, in the middle turning into plating. So this has a lot of different elements going on to it, which I really love. And then they have these beautiful colors as well. And the bottom is one really strong, sturdy, thick splint bottom. So they didn't have to do a double bottom. They used thicker splints and were able to lay them down and bring it out that far. So you can either do thinner splints, do a double bottom, or thicker ones for a larger bottom. That's really beautiful.
I'm just going to show you the inside because the color
and there
is incredible.
Yes. So those would be the natural colors, which they will always fade on the outside, no matter what us basket weavers do. They will always fade. But the inside will always be vibrant and beautiful. And I can see lots of just incredible colors there. Most likely older, that looks like a newer basket from maybe the past 30, 40 years. I think so. The colors most likely would have been some more of our more commercial dyes, but also you can use all kinds of natural dyes, which in the older days they were. That's beautiful. So I think there's the last one we have of this black ash basket is incorporating our loops, but it's also showing our square bottom. So it's incorporating a little bit of everything that we've seen. So it will be like a market basket. It's something that we would have been using more today because as we used our baskets for ourselves, utilitarian, and it turned into we're going to sell some baskets to people for money so we can buy things. And this here would have been a market basket, and we would have used this for sewing, for shopping. I use it today for anything and everything that I can. Also, baby baskets. You see the way those handles, they drop down at the sides. This was really something for us back home in Michigan that we would use for our babies. This is a real common baby basket because those handles could go up together. They were very sturdy. You could drop them, pick the baby up. And those handles, let's see if you show the other side of the handle. Yeah, those handles are really, they're carved. I mean, if you can imagine everybody just, everything they do, they're carving out these things from the black ash log. We've also made our baby cradles. It made our snowshoes. So black ash wood is much as we can split it and weave with it, we can also carve with it. So they would have carved out those pins. They would have carved out the handles. We have our plated bottom again. And then the decoration on the side is the one I was speaking of, where it has the loops with a little tiny line in the middle and the loops again. And that's where you can, take those loops and make another decoration with it. So
Kelly,
this is a real utilitarian basket. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Doug Sporn had a question. Could you clarify a little bit what you mean as growth rings? They're the interior of the tree, right? They're not the bark or the bast.
Right. Yeah, so the growth rings are the interior of the tree. We are taking the bark off of the tree to get to the growth rings. So we will scrape the bark off with a draw knife to get down to the growth ring area. If it is about 6 weeks in the summertime, we can actually peel the bark off the log first to get to the growth rings, but it's definitely the growth rings. And if you look at a log that has all of those circles and we're looking at it straight on, imagine like a V of growth rings. That is the part we're pounding and the part that will release. And every single one of these baskets is made out of a certain thickness of growth rings. So those bottoms you're seeing, we're using our thicker growth rings. The buildup can be thick or kind of medium size. The embellishments are very thin. So as I'm splitting my material, I'm feeling it and I'm throwing it into different piles according to what I'm going to use it for, bottoms, buildup, and such. So black ash, I'm just going to give you a little quick thing here for about a minute. Black ash is really endangered in the United States to the emerald ash borer. The emerald ash borer was introduced in, we discovered it in 2002, probably came in about 1992 into Windsor and into Detroit. They discovered it in Canton, Michigan. We had tens of thousands of ash trees dying. Now we have millions, and I mean over 600 million, 700 million ash trees dead in Michigan. The mitten, I know all of us Michigan people do this, but the mitten is decimated of ash trees. Our Upper Peninsula has a lot of sporadic infected areas. So while we can still find some ash trees in the Upper Peninsula, we can also see the signs of the emerald ash borer in each place that we are. So, so far I have not seen any stands uninfected. The emerald ash borer can decimate an entire ash stand in 3 to 5 years, where the seeds of the black ash tree do not seed except for every about 5 to 7 years. So the bug can kill a black ash stand before it can seed itself. So seeds have become the most important resource to continue this tradition, along with teaching the youth, because they'll be the ones planting the seeds, and recording the stories, recording it in video form, flash drive, pictures, anything we can do in case we miss a generation of harvesters. And So this is how we've been trying to preserve it for future generations. Right now in Michigan, we still have some time. So we're still teaching as long as we can. But time is of essence for sure. So we're go on to oh, actually I wanted to show you guys too, like, so the handles, that's what the little handles I wanted to show you guys were the same things like this one, where you could put them in the opposite way, where it would fall down. So you could also have handles on a round basket as opposed to your
Could you hold that still for a second?
square basket. Yeah.
Thanks.
I know, you guys
Yeah, it's blurring
trying
when
to
it
tell me.
moves. Thank you.
Good to see.
Yeah, and then
This is also the twill pattern. Then it has
Cool.
that
Yes.
handle,
Yes.
and then it has the round bottom again. So next we will talk about, I believe I had, is it Birch Bark?
Yep.
Yes.
So let's see how this works.
Yeah, okay.
We won't have glare.
So these are Birch Bark Cutouts. Now this is out of summer bark. You could do this out of winter bark as well. And I will show you the difference with some barks I have here. But this is Birch Bark Cutouts. They were used for beadwork patterns, you know, or quilt work patterns you were doing on your, you know, your regalia, anything that you were making. So people would fold a piece of birch bark, cut it out. It would be, you know, just perfect on both sides, exactly the same. And then you could lay it down and you could make your pattern over it. So, and I can also tell on either side of this, there's also some bitings in there. Now, birch bark bitings are the ones that are, you know, you can see just that little pattern in there. They are actually bitten with your teeth. So it's bitten with your eye tooth, and it depends on what kind of pattern you're doing, how you will fold it. You can fold it in half, you can fold it 2 times, you can fold it 3 times. That one over there, that's a circle, that was most likely folded 3 times. The one that we're looking at now was most likely folded in half and then bitten on. And it looks like kind of like some arrow shapes. And then she also has some regular birch bark bitings, I think, there too.
Yep.
Bess is getting a workout today with everything. And then this is an incredible birch bark biting. So it's very large, and I like this. So this to me is bees. You know, if you look at it, it's a flying bug. I reckon it to a bee or a fly or something. But so that would have been folded like probably 4 times to get that design. You would fold it in half like a book. Then you would fold like the book in half. And then you would do this little like corner to corner and another corner to corner. Then when you open it, you'll have all of these designs. Actually, this would have been 3 folds. So that book in half, book down, and then corner to corner. Then when you open it up, this is all of the designs where you will have. And you'll be thinking in your mind when you're doing a birch bark biting, there is, number one, there's no wrong bitings. All bitings that do not turn out what you want them to be can be a snowflake. So every biting is a good biting. And when you're intentionally trying to do something like, you know, bees or butterflies or dragonflies or turtles or flowers, those are the ones that I, you know, can do kind of on demand. If you ask me to do something else, I would have to go home and practice, you know, for a few weeks to get that design down to make sure that I could do it for someone, because it really is just a lot of practice and thinking in your mind. You're literally connecting your mind to your teeth. And I know that sounds crazy, but you know, when you're biting a butterfly, you have to think about which way the butterfly wing goes, which way it comes back, you know, and how you're biting. And then when you open it up, it will hopefully look like what you want. So 2 types of birch bark I wanted to show you is, you see this birch bark here is lighter than this birch bark. Again, it's like my my wood. So we have winter bark, which is a little bit darker. And if I scratch on it, it's going to leave some designs. So winter bark, really, you don't collect a lot. It kind of comes off the trees that the bark is already changed. It's sticking to it more. It's just You know, it's at the end of winter, possibly at the beginning of winter, but these will be trees that are probably getting cut down for some firewood or something, so you can take some bark off of it, so it doesn't harm the tree. So the summer bark is something we harvest all the time. We take the bark off the tree and it doesn't harm the tree as people think. Summer bark is ready to come off. It grows when the strawberries are growing or the raspberries are coming out. That is when I start looking for summer bark. There'll be a few days of when you're taking it off. And if you guys have ever seen a white paper birch tree, it literally is flaking off. You'll see the layers coming up. It's kind of already like, you know, telling you I'm ready to be, you know, picked. And then we will slice down it into the layers of the bark only, and then we will peel it off. And there's like a few days a year when it's just like the days, you'll call it the days that the bark is popping. And when bark is popping, people who peel bark are really excited because you peel the bark and it's literally just coming off in like maybe 3 pops, pop, 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 and you'll have this big, huge piece of bark. So it's really only a few days of year that it gives itself like that. The rest of the days we're seeing if it's time, you know, if the bark is giving itself, you cannot force it off the tree. It will not come off unless it is ready to come off. And when you see someone harvesting some birch bark, it'll turn dark in that spot, but that tree will continue to grow. And we know this because those dark spots will, you know, in 10 years or so be 10, 20 feet up the tree. And that means that someone harvested that bark a long time ago. They didn't climb the tree to get that particular spot. So those are the different kinds of barks. Then I wanted to show you guys, I have a small piece right here, some of the layers in it, so you can see the layers of the bark. So this is what we're picking when we're doing the birch bark bitings. We're literally peeling layers apart. So I have this here, and I'm just going to kind of, this is literally how I do it. If I'm peeling it, I will kind of start in the corner, and then I will peel down with my thumb, and then I will peel it apart. So I'll spend a lot of time doing this at home first, so you can see right there. Real slow.
Okay, and I can see.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you guys see that peeling apart? That is where you come down to one layer. When you get that one layer off, it will be really curly like that. And that is how it's going to be. It'll be really curly. And so if I were to do a birch bark biting, I'm just going to show you guys a real quick one. You can see here's the birch bark. And then I will fold it like that circle you guys saw. I told you guys. So I'll show you how I fold it, just like a book. Fold it in half. We're always folding the dark side in, the light side out. Then I'm folding it down, just folding that book in half, what we would never do with a book. And then we're folding it corner to corner. So now I have like one of those football things people played with in high school, I always tell people. And if I do that corner to corner again, you can see it's a really small piece of bark now. But if I bite 3 lines across this, I'm literally going to have a circle with 3 lines. And I can't look at people when I bite. Okay, so now that I've done that, then what we're doing is you have to open it very carefully. As you open it, you'll see I have a circle. You can see now there's a circle like that one that we saw earlier. So for me, this is the beginning of a turtle. If I were making a turtle.
Sorry to
And I
interrupt.
would give that
Can
little.
you pull it away from your computer and
Oh,
hold
no,
it
that's
still?
okay. Yeah.
A little bit back away from the computer. Oh, yeah, that's much better.
Great.
Cool, thank you.
Okay. So that's the body. If I'm doing a turtle, I'll put a head and a tail on it and give him some feet. And then you guys will have seen. turtle. And just need. And again, if it's not a turtle, what is it? A snowflake. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see him now. Anyway,
Bring
he
it
has
in
a
just a
head.
little bit
Legs. Which way? This way?
towards
Or
the
back?
camera, a little bit.
Forward.
Mm,
Oh my gosh, we can see it.
There, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's wild. I'm
So-
just like, who invented that?
So,
What genius came up with that idea? Like, I would never think about it in a million years.
I know,
And
you know what?
said
So
you-
today, like,
Sorry.
I've read in books that people like would, do birch bark bitings when they're picking strawberries, because that's the time of year that you will have the birch bark bitings. It can kind of occupy your mouth, so you're not eating your strawberries. They were also used on under patterns, like we were saying with the Birchbark Cutouts, where you could use that for a quill pattern or a beadwork pattern like we do today. And of course, we frame them today as their own art pieces, because we work really hard for weeks and do intentional designs, and we want everyone to see our hard work. So, so we do frame these as well. And there's some really incredible birch bark biters, like around. They do even bigger ones. Denise Lejetamore. There's a lady named Pat Bruder up in Canada. There's probably like, I don't know, like a dozen around. Some of the most famous ones were named Angelique Mastassi. They were from Canada. They were not related in any way, but this lady would bite rabbits and with carrots and, owls and just incredible things. I've seen really old ones in collections, and they will be like bitings of houses or, maybe things that they have seen along the way. So our birch bark was really important to us, because not only could we use it for canoes, we could use it for containers, we could use it for our ricing, we could use it for our bitings, we could use it for our cutouts, we could use it for our lodges and structures. Birch bark is one of the most versatile and just amazing trees in our forest that we have, besides the black ash, because, of course, I'm a black ash girl and I love that stuff. So,
but you actually
so
own
this
Birch
is
Bark
our wonderful
Canoes, right?
birch bark.
Sorry, I'm interrupting, but you've helped make Birch Bark
Yeah,
Canoes.
I do.
On them.
Yeah, so last winter I assisted a little bit with a birch bark canoe. It was when it was like 30 degrees below zero, so I did a lot of time trying to keep everybody warm enough to not freeze in my garage. And I have 5 birch bark canoes. So they are made big pieces of birch bark. One of them is a winter bark canoe, so it's really etched and stuff. But otherwise, they're made with huge pieces of birch bark. They have cedar planks inside. They're wrapped with spruce roots all the way around. And then to seam up the seams where the birch bark meets, you'll seam it up with bear grease, pine pitch, and some ashes. The ashes give it a black color, but otherwise the bear grease and the pine pitch will seal it up so we can take it into the water. You can float around, and then you have to pay attention to the parts where it's sealed to seal it again when it needs it. So normally a canoe maker would, have a little bit of all of that in a sack somewhere so they could bring it along with them in case they needed to heat it up and, reseal it. But our birch bark canoes are best for the Great Lakes area because we have waterways, we have streams, we have all these Great Lakes, and that was our way of getting around. And they're really light. I could even put it over my head and walk around. I might bump into you because I won't see where I'm going, but I could do it.
So what next?
And I think next we have a basswood bag.
Yeah.
Now this is just beautiful. Basswood is an incredible, incredible material. So this bag is made out of basswood cordage and also basswood, the basswood itself. So we would use basswood for our, for our wrap tying things. We'd use basswood for these bags. You can see that cordage there. It's actually basswood, twisted into cordage. So I have two different kinds of basswood here. And actually, it's all one kind of basswood, two different methods of preparing it. So the two different methods that I have here next to me are, the method is called retting. So you're going to find a basswood tree. It will be in the middle of the summer. It will be very, very hot out. It will be humid. We're going to take a portion of the basswood bark, and we're just talking a few inches up the side of a tree. Again, sometimes people will be cutting down trees in places that I go, but I'll have to get it fresh. So we'll take the basswood bark off the tree. We'll separate the outer bark from the inner bark. So what we are seeing here is inner bark from the basswood tree. Once you take the inner bark off, you will do a process called retting. Now, retting is where you put the basswood in water. So this was put into some water, and I prefer running streams to do this because the water is constantly cleaning the process that's happening. The process that's happening is the bacteria in the water will eat the sugars and starches off of this basswood. Indicator of if it's ready is we'll go to the stream, and we have to stake it down in the stream so it won't be floating at the top. We'll go there and we'll pull it out, and you kind of have to shake this black stuff off of it. So that's the retting process that's happening. And then we'll smell it. So if you smell it and it smells really bad, I live in farm country. I have cows all around. It smells like I'm home. Then I put it back under the water because it's not ready yet. It will always have a certain particular smell to it, but if you do not ret it enough, you will have a bag that looks beautiful that no one will want to touch because it will stink. So we will ret it long enough. So this right here is retting with a stream. This is natural retting. And then I'm going to show you some that was retted it meant someone needed it fast, so they boiled it. And so they put their basswood bark into some boiling water and they stirred it and they kept it going. And so this is when someone needs that retting process to happen quickly. The retting process I'm showing you here that is natural, this took about, 4 to 5, sometimes it can take 6 weeks. Wow. So we'll be letting it ret for as long as it takes until it is prepared, depending on the, pH balance and, whatever else is in that water. So this kind of retting that I have here is done in a lake or, in a pot. So, and you can see, it looks like really crazy stuff, but the difference in the color is not too much difference. But this one is a little darker. If you could see it up close, this one would be a little darker. And the process is just the same. You're putting it in water to remove the sugars and the starches. Now, all of those cordages that you see right there, I can see I started some right here. So those cordages that you see right there are literally done with this stuff. So you can see it looks very see-through. You can see how you could see me through it if I, and then you can see all the lines. So it's very, very, very fibrous. It doesn't look like strong stuff at all, but as I pull it, you can hear that little, pull and snap to it. Now here, I have started a piece of cordage. I can see I was demonstrating this for someone. So I'm always twisting back. I'm taking my material and I'm twisting it with my fingers towards you, and I'm pulling it forward to the front. I'm twisting it towards you, pulling it to the front. And then pretty soon you'll have a bunch of cordage as you do this. Now, this is not the way that the elders will do it. The elders that are really good at making cordage actually just slap it on their leg and they put their hand back and forth. And in this amazing magical way, they will have all of this cordage. I show people the real, the old way, pulling it, twisting it towards you, pulling it down in front towards me. So it's kind of like an opposite effect there, but it holds it together to where we will have a really strong piece of rope when we're done. This was used to, when we make the rope like this, it is used to weave across the bag in a twining pattern over strips of our basswood that would be hanging down over a stick like this. Then we would take our basswood and go across. So that's all of the lines that you saw in the basswood bag that Bess was holding. We would use this cordage for our fishing nets. We use this cordage for tying our lodges together on our baskets. So you could use it, the cordage in there for decoration. Anything you needed to tie, we would use this for. And so even today, I use it to tie things onto my top hats and things like that. I'll make some cordage and tie things on.
Oh,
So basswood is an incredible versatile material, but again, it's very seasonal. Only in the middle of the summer can we get our basswood material and do this retting. It was used for garters and made garters of it, out of it. Our bags, I'm trying to think of all the wonderful things.
Gussie was wondering if
But-
the boiling weakens the fibers.
If the what we can
Oh,
do?
the boiling?
Oh,
Does
no,
the boiling process mean it'll be a weaker end result?
no, because
Okay,
this
so
is
it's the
just as
same.
strong as
Okay.
the rest. It just means,
Okay.
yep, it speeds up the retting process is what they're doing actually. It just means that, you know, they didn't have 4 weeks to wait for it. Maybe they were making something, they ran out and they're like, dang, I need more, some by tomorrow. So we'll ret it that night. But yeah, basswood, I love, oh, and the basswood bags, you know, the one that she's holding up, you could put a lot of stuff in there. I liken them to our flex bags, you know, the Glad flex bags that you can just put in and everything really stretches apart. And so you see that material that I was showing you just going up and down. We would start it over a stick and then you will be weaving the bag upside down. And that's how you'll be weaving it until you get all of your pieces to the top. Yes. And you see across the bottom there, that's the part you'll go over the stick and then you'll go ahead and twine it together with your cordage that you have pre-made. Now that piece of cordage there is going to be a continuous piece of cordage that will go all the way around until they finish. So that piece of cordage, boy, that must be just, I don't know, 100 feet long or more. So someone is literally spending a long time making all of that cordage first. Then they're dyeing some different pieces of the, you know, to make different designs in it. But that is a lot of work there just to do that cordage and see how evenly they made it. And again, this is the weaver, you know, doing it. And they're going behind. So you're taking a piece of this, you have your piece and you're going behind it and in front of it. Then the next piece, you do the opposite, going behind and in front. So that's how they're keeping all of these fibers together and keeping them so tight. I mean, that's an incredible bag. And these were made anywhere the basswood tree would grow. So I think they could make these down as far as Kansas even. They have basswood trees down there. Don't everybody Google it right now and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But, but I know up here in the Great Lakes, we have basswood. So I know we did, but I have seen some in collections from the Prairieville Band in Kansas, I believe. So I'm pretty sure they have some.
Yeah, just the most easterly edge. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much right when you get to
And
Oklahoma.
then the last, oh, okay. Well, the last thing we're talking about then is quill work. And so I picked out some different quill boxes. Now our quill work, of course, was done early on, always on our birch bark, not always, I'm saying always on, you know, but on our leather, on our regalia, on our clothes, and on our birch bark. You know, of course, you could have done it on other things should you want to. But these are the main things that have been quilled. So you can see these quilled boxes here. And I also have some as well too. So there is a bird box, which is one of them. And I think that it was a blue jay that I chose. Yeah. So you see her blue jay bird box. And then I have one that is a cardinal here. They're made in the same way. So you can see on both of our boxes, there's the brown, and this is all quill. Now the colors are dyed. The natural quills are there to give it more variation. The inside is that wonderful birch bark again. Now our birch bark can be used in so many different ways. Here's the bottom of it. When I touch this birch bark, it's really soft, like leather. It feels incredible like leather. How does yours feel, Bess?
It's amazing.
Is it soft like leather in there?
Yeah. And it smells good.
Yeah. Is it?
It's from,
Yeah,
I think,
and that's it.
sweetgrass,
And
but it
so
also
that softness,
yeah.
like
I love
the softness like leather is the suppleness that we get from it being good summer bark. So we're just taking the quills and you're poking a hole with an awl or whatever sharp, you could use a nail, anything. This is where you can be really inventive. And you're poking it in, I poke it in with an awl, you pull your quill through, and as you pull them through, they will pull through, and this is the back of something that is quilled. So this is what it looks like on the back. You're pulling it through, pulling it through, you're pulling it through, you're pulling it through, and then you have all these really sharp ends. And then on the front, it would look something like that, you know, depending on your design. And these here, you guys, they're really soft. I love that. They're really soft. So nobody's getting hurt after you're cutting stuff off. So this beautiful blue jay quill box that she has, someone has spent some incredible amount of time literally doing every single quill one box. They'll be etching on their design before they start, so they really know where they're going quilling. You could do it freehand too, you know, if you're really have the idea in your mind, just like you can draw. But that is a really incredible box. Now these open up, of course, and you could put anything in there. Most of these were made decoratively for tourists and money in the later years. No, we've had tourists for a long time, so that doesn't necessarily mean it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've read that kind of when the fur trade
has-
collapsed, that's when the art and catering to non-native audiences really came about, that people just need to survive and feed their families. So like
exactly. My grandpa, yeah, my grandpa used to say when he was like, so we're saying like 1925, they used to sell baskets to the tourists, and that was what they did for money. This one I found really cool because it is actually, she's using the bark, I believe it's the elm bark is what she's using. So she's using the elm bark and then using her quills on top. And so I thought this was really unique. And I believe this is Mamie Miigwams from Canada. And I've seen her stuff. So she is, I mean, this is like 100 years ago. She's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to use some bark for mine. And this is like tree bark as opposed to our birch bark. Of course, it's all. See, the bottom is birch bark. And then the sides look like some kind of elm or some other kind of tree bark. Oh, this looks like she twisted the birch bark around. So this one was done with the outside of the birch bark, the way you see it on the tree, which is really great. And then she has sweetgrass. She has Missepashu on the top, which is our Underwater Panther. He makes us respect the water. So when I go in that, you see that canoe there? If you're not respecting him when you're in the water, he will tip your boat over. So if we go to our islands, I go to Mackinac Island, we all throw some tobacco in the water and we just tell him hello and, you know, that we're just taking a little journey. So anyway, you have to give your water respect all the time, just like we should anyway. We should all respect the water. We need it. So we call him Missepashu, and he's our Underwater Panther of the Great Lakes.
Can we look at that design really quickly again? Okay, I have a personal gripe of all these archaeologists that want to conflate the underwater panther with an uktana, a water monster, and they're totally different things. So, I mean, his tail's extremely long, and then he's got ridges, and he's a cat. He's a feline. He's not serpentine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's
right.
really
So
particular ways
he's
he's
supposed to be
portrayed.
like, yeah, a cat with horns. Normally that tail too, sometimes you'll see it in our petroglyphs back home where the tail comes down and will go around the bottom. So there are, you know, different ways of them drawing, but this is something that's been in our oral stories and our legends for a really long time. We have our underwater panther.
And
And
then
so
he's
he kind of
connected to
takes care of the
lightning.
underworld.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then we have our, you know, thunderbirds and stuff take care of the, you know, the skies. So he's the keeper of the underwater world. And so,
And would it be
and
possible
to
to
use the
open?
different colors of the quills to go ahead and outline it.
I apologize. I'm so sorry to talk over you, but yeah, if we could see the interior, that'd be
Oh,
awesome.
oh yeah, yeah.
So this one has a sort of
Oh,
other element in it. So I'll show you how it's packed right now. So this has a birch
oh
bark
yeah.
envelope inside.
Wow.
It's got all sorts of goodies in here. So there's a birch bark envelope
Oh, that is neat.
and here it's
Oh
actually
gosh.
Wow.
Oh, I'm so glad you opened that.
This is the first time I've ever seen something like this, you guys. This is incredible.
But I love that it actually went through the mail.
yeah, and then
Yes.
very, very carefully.
Card. Wow. Oh, that is incredible. She actually wrote a letter on there. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
That is,
A
what does
letter
it say?
to Dear Punky, I really love this birch bark paper. It makes me think of the cool forest and the birch trees by the water. I think it even smells woodsy, and the texture is lovely. I didn't know that birch bark could be so varied. It's a great idea to recycle logging wastes into paper. Thanks for sending me some. Love, Wiggy. P.S. I sent some to my friend Lizzie. She wants to know where she can get more.
That is so
That's
cool.
beautiful.
And then there's
We're all
some
going to be
more that
trying one.
weren't used, but there's so a
Ooh.
couple more envelopes.
I'm glad it's nothing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Those are so
That is just amazing.
Yeah.
cool.
So how are they attached at the side? Can you tell, Bess? How
So
are they sewing up the sides there?
I think they're just glued. There's no stitching on them that I can find.
Oh, okay.
So here, let's see.
It's, yeah,
So-
glue would work because it's like paper. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah,
And let's see.
that's incredible. See, that was worth the whole document.
The
Beautiful.
postmark and the stamp are so great.
Yeah,
I know we should
That's
see if we
amazing.
can find Mr. Earl Courier in Ontario.
Well, you have his address.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Still there.
I can Google map it. We
Yep.
can stalk him.
And you know, on the back where you saw the paper on the front, you cannot see those quills on the back. So they're actually taking another piece of bark and they're sewing over that. So that's why you don't see all of this stuff that I have here, because they're covering it up and they're sewing them so beautifully. And boy, that again, that is big. You guys see every little single dot up there? Those are all just all day long. And that is a lot of work, but I have to tell you, quilling is very relaxing. It's really relaxing work. I've done a little bit more this summer than I would usually do, and I've just found it to be relaxing. And so let's see, what one do you have next there?
Next, I think we have the little flower one. Let me grab that.
Oh, yeah.
So there's different ways you can quill. So you can quill with natural quills, brown and white. Yeah, so this is what this one shows. It's showing just using natural. Then you see they're taking those and they're making some raised. And then on the side, they just have like a diagonal pattern. They're sturdy, don't worry. Because on the side, they have this diagonal pattern. And so these are the ways you can decorate the side of the box. So you see the first artist just went ahead and used the birch bark. The very first one we saw had the lines going up and down. And then we had just the birch bark. And now this one is doing a diagonal pattern. So you can really do many varied things. They're using the color of the quills to do their patterns. And no matter what, just look with 4 flowers, how beautiful is this box here?
And it's
even with just 4 flowers and a few. It is, yeah, it really is, because the middle of the things, they're actually doing them raised. So I can tell they're just slightly raised, but they are raised. I actually tried to grab one from my cupboard so you guys could see how you could raise things on baskets.
Oh my gosh.
And you can even cut the tops of the quills off. So see, I could just poke a bunch of quills in and then cut them off, and you can make your patterns too. So see how that is merely just poked in, and then the ends are cut off. And you see how raised that one is. So it looks like this one is side, but I mean, what a beautiful rose that is.
Did you make that?
And then what? No.
Oh, I don't know. You surprise me all the time.
No. And this one, I love this because, but then we're taking our quills and our birch and we're making things that we need. So again, like I liken this to a catch-all at my house, but this could be used for a number of things. It could be used for anything in your kitchen, your bathroom, your living room. But how they cut out the different shapes, they quilled it and put it together. And again, it's just birch bark and quills. And then I believe it's sewn together with possibly some basswood or with the basswood. So we've already talked about the basswood, how it can sew things together.
Yep.
So isn't that amazing? And every time you hold up these things, they're so much more beautiful than in that photo that I see. That is just beautiful. So again, you're taking 4 pieces, you're cutting them all out the same pattern, and then you're sewing that together with your basswood one at a time, putting it together. That is really beautiful. Quilling it, and of course there's 2 pieces of the quill together, because remember, we're taking our quills and then we're doubling them up so we can cover all of the little quilt parts where we've quilled in. That's beautiful. And then there's one more.
One more. Yep.
All right.
And I picked out these to show you guys the different way we can quill. We can quill raised, we can quill 2D, we can quill 3D, we can quill with just beautiful sides, even the white quills going down. Now this one I love. This is showing imagination. So all of our artists for, thousands of years, they've had imagination. How are you going to turn a tree into a basket if you don't have imagination, right? Well, this one right here is just incredible. I think of this and I look at it like you could have it be a child's toy. Of course, today everyone would be like, well, don't give that to a kid. But no, back then, this is what they did. They made their kids beautiful toys that they couldn't afford in the stores, and they used them. Or I also thought of it as even a gingerbread house. You see a gingerbread house, you have your own that you can make, but your imagination gets sparked by all of those things that you're seeing around you. And so this right here, and look at that, you can even use it. I mean, this is incredible. This piece right here too, I imagine that someone made to impress someone so they could sell it possibly, and have some money too. So all of these things, a child's toy, making something that you've seen to have at your own house for your own uses, and also selling to, get some money and get the tourists to be impressed by your work. But look at the beautiful flowers, just the beautiful work on this. It makes me want to make one when we get done today. That is beautiful. And the windows, the way they did the windows with those beautiful designs, that's just amazing. So those are the different fibers of the forest. Our native people will work with whatever fibers of the forest they have available to them. I am fortunate to be in Michigan. I have all of these trees available to me, and we use every tree that we have available to us. We also use white cedar bark, which is something I didn't see in the collections, and I didn't want to bore them with one more, but this is also another tree that we can use, is white cedar bark. So we do use everything that we have available to us. So if you see, anything that a native have made in a particular area, and you're like, why did they use that tree? Because it was available.
And for people who want more, you have a major show coming up with your daughter.
I do. At Grand Rapids Art Museum in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It opens December 5th. We will also have it virtual. Please go online. We do have information. And if you're not able to come for various reasons, then we will have it online. And we're really excited. I'm excited to do that with my daughter, Cherish Parrish, and it'll be all new work.
Cool. Yeah, you've had a busy, busy year. You've made so much art. Well, we're a little over time, not that it matters that much, but if you guys, I can unmute you all if you want to ask questions to Kelly directly. So.
I bet it was so informative, there are none.
We're all experts now.
That's right.
Well, I have a question, actually.
Cool. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry. So, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing all of that information. That was really great to listen to. So I just had a question on the canoe making portion of it. So just me visualizing, the canoe, is it many layers that you use of the bark for the base part, or is it just like one thick sort of layer that you use?
One layer. So it will be one thick layer from the white part to the brown part. Okay. And depending on if you can get a tree big enough, it might be made out of one piece of bark if you're really lucky, or 2 or 3 pieces put together.
Wow.
I've actually seen one with maybe 8 to 10 pieces put together, but it's still going to be a sturdy canoe as long as you patch it right.
Right. Cool. Very cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oops.
Kelly, I want to thank you so much. I'm still enjoying the 2 baskets I made with you 4 years ago when you came for the basket making workshop. I have one at home and one at the Co, and I just really enjoy them. So thank you so much for doing that with us. I learned a lot.
Oh, that was awesome. And she let us pound there. So we actually pounded a log outside the Co.
Yeah, and I put a link.
She was brave to let us do that.
I put a link to that in the chat. So there's a short video of about a minute or so. So if people want to see that, it's also on our YouTube channel. So you can go check it out there too.
And when we look up Ralph T. Co. YouTube.
Yeah, Ralph T. Co. Center for the Arts, or Co. Center, it should come up. It's sort of weird. I'm still learning how to do all this, but there's one that really works and where all the videos are. So if you get the one where there's nothing really there, then keep looking.
Okay. Here's an hour video. Wow.
Yeah, there are quite a few we have a lot of videos from the Co Center doing various things, but also I know there are other videos and other things with Kelly involved in them, and maybe better videos than the one that I took of harvesting the ash splints and all that. So.
I see Kathleen wants to ask a question. She's so graciously raised her hand.
Oh, wow. Professional.
Hi, Kelly. Mostly I just want to say hi. I miss you so much. Without the market,
I miss you too.
I miss everybody, of course, but you're my neighbor so many times that I just haven't seen you forever. I guess my question is, how is the market scene in that area or in your medium. Just wondering how you're navigating the market. I know it's off subject of everything you taught us, but I just curious if you're doing virtual markets or if you're like doing classes like this.
Yeah, I've tried to figure out how to do classes like virtually. So basket weaving might be a little tricky to do online, but I have been trying to come up with little tiny different classes that I can do virtually, like sweetgrass coiling or, birch bark bitings, things like that. Navigating these times at home. Number one, it's lonely because I miss all of you out there in this virtual land. So that's one thing. Social distancing is easy in the woods. But trying to sell things, it's been a little different for me because I've never had internet until the end of July. So this is like the first time in my life I've had internet at home. So it's a whole new world. And yeah. So
Well,
I'm trying to do what I can to.
If you decide to do any virtual classes, definitely keep us in mind. My daughter and I would love to. You can mail out some supplies and then have a class.
Yes. I will be doing that. So you guys, I do have a website, www.woodlandarts.com. And, I was thinking after my art show starts in Grand Rapids, I'm going to do some virtual classes. So do check our website intermittently. We also have a store now for the first time in our lives. So you guys can check that out. But I will let you Kathleen.
Moving into the 20th century.
Yeah. Hey, Gussie.
We're going to get you on
How
that
are
technology
you?
yet.
Yeah, I know. So she's my videographer. She can give me tips after this. No, but yeah. Gussie, good to see you.
Good to see you. I miss you. I hate not being able to travel.
I know, all of us. It's so weird, and then you guys, I plan all these travels in my head, and then I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm not going anywhere. But when I'm ready to travel again, I have about 15 different itineraries planned, so I'll be ready.
And one more.
It was so good to do this.
Have you done any pieces collaborating
go.
everything that all the different mediums that you taught us today, talked about today? Are there pieces that collaborate everything together?
Yeah, so coming up in our art show at the Grand Rapids Art Museum, it's so much different than a market. We can just do anything we want, big in size or, So yeah, we do. We have a lot of different pieces that that do have all the materials in them. So we're real excited to show those when it comes. Yeah. But we have been. This is the one year that I really didn't get to collect like I usually do. But I guess it was a more focused collection. And I was able to get just a little bit of everything. Yeah. So we're excited for the new works. And Cherish and I are collaborating. That's exciting too.
That's great.
So thank you, everybody. Chi miigwech. This just means much thanks. I've not been able to see a lot of people. It's been good to share. It's good for all of us to get together. I've been enjoying these talks. So please, if someone asks you to do a talk, Kathleen, they're looking for talkers to do this. So anyway, everyone out there, get a hold of America because I want to watch you guys next time and learn more about all of you.
Yay.
Thank you again, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you so much. Y'all take care.
Take care. Bama P.
Bye.
Bye.